Backward or zero res. And when nothing but new will do, nobody knows floors better than zero res. Save on top Mohawk brands. Go to zfloors.com to learn more or call 952-0-RES and set up a free in-home consultation. Z Floors by Zero Res.
The local advertisers you hear on AM 950 are the lifeblood of the station. If you find yourself regularly tuning in, or if you appreciate the diversity of content we deliver, please take the time to support our advertisers. Even if it's just to thank them for backing AM 950, your voice and support can go a long way. Help keep the station going strong while investing in our local community. Find the complete list of on-air supporters by visiting the advertisers page at am950radio.com. That's am950radio.com.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950, here to tell you about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If your home was hit with the most recent storms, trust the most well-reviewed exterior construction company, Snap Construction, for a free home inspection.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. There are a lot of great construction companies in town. My advice is to take your time and do your research. Make sure they are locally owned and that they guarantee their craftsmanship for life. Also, you want to find a company that's been in business for at least 10 years. You want to work with a company that's going to be there long after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims, and we'll help you through the process.
Don't go with the out-of-town fly-by-night contractor. Most storm damage goes missed by the untrained eye. Trust Snap Construction for your free storm damage evaluation. For your free storm damage evaluation, call Snap Construction at 612-333-SNAP or visit them online at snapconstruction.com. That's 612-333-SNAP or snapconstruction.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Sunshine today with a high of 47, then tonight cloudy with a low around freezing. Scotch Mama's Hot Barbecue offers the huge taste of selections like baby back ribs and pulled pork sandwiches out of a little place. Scotch Mama's is located just a block west of I-35W off of West Diamond Lake Road in South Minneapolis. Visit their website at scotchamamas.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
You were the only one who really had faith in the voters, Batman.
I'm ashamed of myself.
We're all ashamed, Batman. While we were ready to desert the ship, you never lost your courage. You brought us safely through.
I never would have believed that the polls could be wrong.
There have been other candidates who've trusted too much in the polls, Mayor Linseed, and they found out that it's the votes that count. Smart politicians trust the voters, not the polls. After all, if you can't trust the voters, whom can you trust?
All right, you're listening to the Matt McNeil Show. That was Batman. Speaking to a lot of people that should get this message. I'm Todd Mikkelson, by the way. I'm not Matt McNeil. This is the Matt McNeil Show. Todd Mikkelson sitting in for Matt. Matt's taken a long weekend, probably another covert, top secret sort of thing. Do you know what's going on, Patrick?
I'm not sure where he is, but that's probably one of the very few radio shows that will be introduced by Batman himself, of course, played by the late, great Adam West.
That is correct. Yeah, I used to love that show when I was a kid. And I used to have dreams where me and my brother were in some sort of trouble with, the Joker or something. And then my dad and my uncle who lived with us at the time were Batman and Robin. And they never could help us because it was still just my dad and my uncle. It wasn't actually Batman and Robin. But yes, amazing results the other night. I know Matt talked quite a lot about it. He talked a lot about the local, the school board elections. Of course, my wife, Heidi, won her election. She got more percentage, the highest percentage of any of the other candidates and the most votes. There were 6 candidates, one of which was kind of a nefarious, suspect. We weren't sure. I don't know that it was so far that he was, I think he was actually backed by the Moms for Liberty or whatever those groups are that Matt was talking about. And of course they lost. So in West Tonka School District, we got the 4 people that we wanted. And the main thing, there were also a lot of referendums, and we had 2. And one of them was a really big one. and a lot of people were really nervous about it. But I and Heidi used to be, 12 years ago, we got really involved in trying to get referendums passed because it was such a red kind of district and there was this small group of people that were always working against the referendums in West Tonka School District. And we kind of got involved and got some other parents involved, and we ended up starting this group that grew bigger than we thought it would. And we got referendums passed back then. I mean, I made a video, it was a big thing that helped a lot. I just took the video camera and went down into the boiler room where it was nasty. There was 2 huge boilers, like as big as a train engine, 2 of them, and they were from 1951. So they were already 60 years old at the time. I can't do, let's see. Yeah, 60 years old at the time. And the room itself, there was some nasty fluids leaking from places. The gymnasium was super hot. It would be like 20 degrees hotter than outside the gymnasium, and these kids are in the gymnasium doing physical stuff. It was just crazy. There had been no updates since 1951 when the building was built. So I just went in and made a video, and we put it on YouTube, and it ended up getting something like 1,300 views, which astonished us. And those bad people who were always working against the referendums one of them actually got interviewed by KSTP News, and he said, yeah, we were up against a machine. They had some kind of big money pushing behind them. And it wasn't. It was me and my video camera and a bunch of us parents. And we got the referendum passed. And then we got more referendums passed and had a new theater built because the kids were doing plays like in a lecture hall, and they were changing their costumes in the hallway of the school. Up until this is just a few years ago. Now we have the new theater and activity center, which actually has made a lot of money because different community activities go on in there, and they have to rent a room or, things like that. So it's really smart to invest in your schools. And I'm very glad to say that both of our referendums got passed. And so it's going to improve kids' school experience even more, which I don't think you can really do that enough. So very, very successful. As you heard Matt talk about yesterday, all of these kind of crazy groups, the Mothers for Freedom. And what was the other one, Patrick?
Is it the Parents Alliance?
Yeah, something like that. But I don't know what it is, but they lost badly. I think if I'm remembering the numbers, I was listening to Matt because I was driving in my car. There were 44 candidates and 9 of them won. And the rest of them lost. They're losers. They're losers. Losers. They were fired.
Don't ask them. They think a message was sent that parents are going to be back in charge.
Yeah. Parents are in charge. I was a parent to a kid in school recently. She's in college now. And I didn't feel like I couldn't find out what she was learning. But, I had to care about it. So you get these parents come into these meetings all of a sudden, and you're like, okay, you already have access to all that stuff that you're asking for access to. I do. I mean, anyway. So, yeah, that got shot down. And, of course, Republicans talking about women's reproductive health care rights. They're absolutely in shambles. And this time they're starting to realize it. But are they saying we need to change our message? We need to maybe think about how to do this differently? Maybe we need to make some compromises? No, they're saying we need to change our messaging. And the extremists like Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're thinking that, they didn't go hard enough on all of this craziness. They need to be more crazy. So now even some of the crazy MAGAs are starting to get to be called rhinos by people like her. So the Republican Party's in absolute shambles. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but I wanted to focus on the fact that there was some polling just this last weekend, just a few days ago, where everybody was all panicked because it looked like Joe Biden was going to lose. And it even said that people under the age of 30 are going to vote for Trump. That's just absolutely asinine. So all of these polls, and again, you've heard me say it before, either on my podcast, A Satellite View, or here on AM 950. If you've heard me doing this, you've heard me say it before that you can't trust the polling. Polls have not been correct at all for 20 years. They don't know how to conduct the polling anymore. A lot of it is because there's a lot more younger people. A lot of it is because of technology. Gen Z does not answer their cell phones when they get a call from a number they don't recognize. They're not part of this poll. So when we say 75% of America, if a poll comes out and says 75% of America, I think it's actually 85% of America wants reproductive health care rights. If Gen Z was a part of that poll, that number would likely be more like 95% of Americans. So that's the problem with the polling. And I can't tell you how angry I am with my friend Dean Phillips for trying to scare everyone in that Joe Biden can't beat Trump. That's just absolute misguided BS. The people who know how to do this, people like I can't remember his first. Oh, I can't remember his name at all. Rosenberg. I'll find his name, but he knows how to watch these things, and he knows how to find out much better than the polls as to where things are. And, especially talking about Biden being too old and losing his cognitive skills. Have you not been watching Joe Biden? I heard him just today. He was answering questions. It's Simon Rosenberg is the guy, by the way. Joe Biden was answering questions, again, standing between the White House and the screaming helicopter. And I heard clips from it. I could barely hear him. I couldn't hear the questions at all. I could just hear the screaming of the helicopter. And he didn't say, "What? I can't hear you. It's kind of loud here." He heard him. He answered the questions very succinctly. He's not losing his cognitive skills. And he's been on a whirlwind all over the world for this last month. It seemed like he went about 2 weeks without any sleep. He would fly to Israel completely on the other side of the planet, which means he's landing there at about 3 a.m. his time. And that's when his day just begins. So he's doing fine. And I think he knows a little better than other people know where he's at on this. And he can announce, "I'm not running this time." And then my question is, what about Kamala Harris? She can win. She can beat Trump. And another thing, I put my words out in public and made the prediction, which I stopped doing after 2016, but I made the prediction that Trump is not going to be the nominee. Of course, there are at least 5, or I think there are 7 or 9 candidates left in the Republican primaries. 5 of them we're going to talk more about this too. Last night had a debate. They all think that Trump is not going to be the nominee, except maybe Vivek Ramaswamy. We love to say his name, Ramaswamy. He might be thinking that Trump is going to be president, and then he wants to be vice president. Chris Christie is trying everything he can to make sure Trump is not the candidate. Nikki Haley, I think, believes Trump is not going to be the candidate. I think even though he dropped out of the race, he knew good and well that he was not going to have a chance against Trump. Vice President Mike Pence, when he got in the race, I said that, I think I was on the air right after he announced he was going to run. And I said, yeah, he's running because he knows something that we don't know. He knows that Trump is not going to be the nominee, probably because he knows Trump may be in prison by next summer. He's going to be found so guilty in March on the January 6th hearings. And they're going to sentence him. And when they sentence him, he's going to be dragged from that courtroom to prison. He's not going to be able to go back to Mar-a-Lago and play one last round of golf and, get his other shoes. They're going to take him from that room and put him in prison. I do think that is going to happen. And I'm making predictions now. Very gun shy, or I hate that term. Very shy about doing that after 2016, where I told everybody that it would be impossible for Trump to become president. I feel a little vindicated because we found out that there was a lot of cheating going on, and there was Russian collusion. There was Russia. It actually did happen in 2016. But anyway, time for us to take a break. And I have another very exciting thing you may or may not know that I'm going to announce when we come back. You're listening to AM 950, the projected. I'm so into Election Day. The projected voice. No, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Todd Mikkelson, sitting in on the Matt McNeil Show. We'll be right back.
The ruling on the field stands. You can register as an organ donor regardless of your age or health. Even people with conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, hepatitis, or cancer can donate. And age is not a factor. The oldest organ donor ever was 95. Don't fumble your chance to save lives. Get the facts and register as an organ donor today at life-source.org. That's life-source.org. Sponsored by LifeSource, this station, and the Minnesota Broadcasters Association.
Are you ready to embark on a journey towards taking control of your health and well-being? I'm Candy Broppel, host of Green Tea Conversations. Join me every Sunday at 10 a.m. as I sit down with the local experts who are bridging the gap between mainstream medicine and complementary therapies. Each week, we explore topics in integrative medicine, nutrition, fitness, creative expression, personal growth, and sustainable living. So grab a cup of tea and join the conversation as we awaken to natural health. Visit us at naturaltwincities.com.
Hey, it's Patrick. We're about to hit the ground running into the holiday season, and you're probably realizing, like many other people are right now, that your home is not ready for all those people to come over for the first time since, well, last year's holiday season. So that's why it's important to get ahead of the game right now by calling Zero Res over to take care of your carpets, tiles, rugs, and more. Zero Res has a 4.9 rating on Google reviews with over 17,000 reviews, and the Zero Res Gotta Love It guarantee makes it easy to get what you pay for. Yes, Zero Res absolutely stands by every cleaning. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at $149, and don't forget your air ducts. You can get $75 off any air duct cleaning this month. Call Zero Res at 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com to schedule your appointment today. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Todd Mikkelson sitting in for Matt McNeil on the Matt McNeil Show. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. And things change very quickly in the political biz. My friend Kelly Morrison, we successfully got her elected in 2018 and then reelected in 2020 to the Minnesota State House. And then in 2022, we got her through a Minnesota Senate, both the primary election in the spring, and then got her elected to the Minnesota Senate. And she had her first session, and I saw her at an event maybe 6 weeks ago, And I said, hey, Kelly, you don't have to run a campaign this summer. And she was very happy about that. But she said it was weird because she's been on a pace for the last 5 years getting ready for reelection, about in the fall of the year before. So it's not quite constant, but a little constant when you're running for the House every 2 years. And running for the state Senate, she only has to run every 4 years. But now, because of a big change that happened with our Congressman, Dean Phillips, Kelly Morrison just this morning announced that she is running for Congress for the Minnesota CD3. Here's the text I got this morning. I think it was about 9. Hi there, this is Kelly Morrison. I have big news to share with you. Today, I just announced I'm running for Congress. Just like in my last election, I'm not taking any corporate PAC or lobbyist money. So I'm going to be funding this campaign one donation at a time. We have been on quite the journey together leading up to this moment, and I couldn't do it without you. It goes on, but that's the text she sent out to her supporters. And Kelly Morrison is now running for Congress, which means we might have to get her through another primary. And so the tireless work restarts for Kelly Morrison. And we'll see if we can get her. I just feel like she must just be scrambling right now, trying to reorganize things. And because, she made this decision in just a very short period of time. Dean Phillips announced less than 2 weeks ago. And he surprised, some would use the word betrayed, so many of us. And it sounds like Kelly did not know he was going to do that either, as well as they know each other. And I saw Dean in D.C. just a month before he announced, and he made it sound like he was not going to run. Somebody even asked him, and he said, yeah, it's looking very not likely. So, and we'll maybe talk a little bit more about that, about the Dean Phillips thing. I think I have kind of a unique point of view because I worked with him since his first minute running for Congress back in late 2017, the same time Kelly was getting started running for the state house. And then being, voting for him, having him be my first Democratic congressman in the area I live, for my whole entire life. And he is a really great guy. I'll always consider him a friend. He is really a great guy, but what he's doing now is just something that I don't approve of, and kind of have some strong feelings about. But that's another subject. We want to celebrate the fact that Kelly Morrison is going to make such an incredible candidate to run for Congress. And then when I go to Washington, D.C., I can visit Kelly Morrison. And it's kind of hard, though, because we were all excited about her being senator. But because the DFL just kicked so much caboose, we'll say, in this last session, Kelly being a huge part of it, it seems like her job is done here, and now she's going to move on. And that's great, but it's also a little sad. But that's the thing about this political biz. Back when I first got started, Paul Thiessen was became the Speaker of the House the same year that I ran in 2012. I became friends with him. Erin Murphy was heading up the DFL caucus. I got to know her really well. They would come to my house for fundraisers for me to support me. And they were very supportive of me. I got to be friends with them. And then 2 years later, Paul's not the speaker anymore. And then a couple years after that, he's going to run for governor. And then he gets appointed to the Supreme Court, Minnesota Supreme Court. And, when I go visit the Capitol, he's not there anymore. And then for a couple of years, Erin wasn't there because she ran for governor and, wasn't in the legislature for 2 years. Then she re-ran and got back in. Melissa Hortman took over. I know her really well. But someday, seems like she's going to stay the Speaker of the House for quite a while. But things move fast. I'm the candidate for 4 years, and then all of a sudden I'm not. And there's somebody else that nobody has met before. And then, I work with these campaigns, and then, out in my district, running for the House is extremely difficult. So I help somebody else run for the House. They try it once or twice, and then they're gone. And then, so things move so fast. So it's kind of, sweet and sad and sweet at the same time. So very happy for my friend Kelly Morrison, going to help her out as much as we can. And I know that Matt McNeil she's very well liked by everybody. I don't know that Matt has met her in person, but he's talked to her, he's interviewed her, and she's just an extremely likable person. So, anyway, I don't know what else to say about that. Another thing that happened just about maybe an hour and a half ago or less, Joe Manchin announced that he is not running for his Senate seat in West Virginia. It looks like there's one guy was going to primary him, and I don't even know if this is true. I just kind of saw somebody announce it, and I'm not sure if it's accurate or not, but he was very progressive, and I think he was even going to primary against Joe Manchin because, progressives and a lot of Democrats are pretty angry at Joe Manchin. And there's a lot of talk about, well, then it was looking like Joe Manchin was going to have trouble re-winning that seat, winning re-election there. So maybe we can take our resources that we were going to put toward him and put them somewhere else, because it may be really, really hard now or possibly impossible to get somebody else, because Joe Manchin was holding on to that seat by basically being a Republican himself. He's been holding up so many important Democratic initiatives. It's almost like we don't have the majority in the Senate because he and Sinema would vote against so many things. So I think he is calculating that he was not going to win. But then as part of his announcement, he said, I'm going to be traveling the country to see if we can bring the middle together. So kind of, and I'm sorry, but that sounds a little bit like the way Dean Phillips has been sounding. Dean won in a red district for the first time since 1959 by being very careful. I know I've even heard Matt McNeil be mad at him even before Dean had become Matt's congressman, because the lines got redrawn. So now he just became Matt McNeil's congressman as well. So Kelly Morrison is running to be Matt McNeil's congressperson as well as my congressperson. I've heard Matt talk about Dean being too center, too conservative, not liberal enough. I don't disagree with that, but I know because I'm way on the western side of Dean's district, which is now going to be Kelly's district. And I knew Dean had to do a very nuanced, careful campaign and needed to remain very careful and nuanced as a congressman, or he would not be able to win re-election. But now, Dean is gone way too far. So what is Joe Manchin going to do? Does that mean he's running for president? Does that mean Dean Phillips is going to announce Joe Manchin as his vice president? Joe Manchin was pretty cryptic. He didn't announce that he's running for president. He just announced that he's not running for re-election, but then he's going to travel the country and try and bring the middle together and get rid of the, all people trying to talk about bringing the country together. The country is together. It's just that a very small sliver of people are crazy and want our democracy to go away. We'll talk more about that when we come back from a break. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Todd Mikkelson sitting in on the Matt McNeil Show. We'll be right back.
I love my Toyota vehicles, so when I have to get service done, there's only one place I go, Rudy Luther Toyota. They know Toyotas inside and out. It starts with them checking your alignment and tire treads with their Hunter Quick Check Drive inspection service. Oil changes, tires, batteries, wipers, no matter what you need done, they can help you with reliable Toyota parts and the best service team in Minnesota. Check out their website, rudyluthertoyota.com, for service and parts specials just for Toyota vehicles. Get your Toyota serviced at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Eat Local Minnesota is a great way to find locally owned Minnesota restaurants and food purveyors. You'll find high-quality food and unique eating experiences with dishes from around the world. Just visit eatlocalminnesota.com for your next meal. Bruner Supper Club invites you to Maggie's Lounge, an exciting new bar lounge. It's open Wednesdays through Sundays beginning at 4:30 for cocktails and light fare. And you don't need a ticket to enjoy the great atmosphere of Maggie's. So stop by Crooner Supper Club off Moore Lake and Highway 65 for dinner, drinks, and live music from both big-name local and national artists. Cafe Latte combines a cafe dining experience with gourmet quality food. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. We know dental anxiety and dental phobia are real. We'll take the time to get to know you and give you what you need to be comfortable at all times. We offer free nitrous oxide laughing gas and have high-tech options to help you feel calm and relaxed during your appointments. We'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been going to Shambot Family Dentistry for years. They get me in last minute when I'm in pain and make regular checkups easy and comfortable.
Shambot Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblotfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Hi, this is Frank Brown, owner of Minuteman Press Uptown, Minnesota's only minority-owned union printing company. We have big news. We've moved to North Minneapolis.
Why did you move?
As a Black business owner, I wanted to be part of the North Minneapolis community to provide jobs.
Are there other reasons you moved there?
We have bigger new equipment and outgrew the other location.
What kind of new equipment do you have?
We have new equipment that allows us to print quality signage and banners. We also have a new inkjet printer, printing larger sheets, improving production efficiencies.
Is the new location easy to find?
It's not only easy to find, it's more convenient with plenty of parking. We are now located on Washington Avenue North off I-94 and the Dowling exit.
So do you still print everything?
We print more than everything. We have over 175 Google reviews with a 5-star rating. Call 612-870-0777 or visit mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com. We print everything.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Sunshine today with a high of 47, then tonight cloudy with a low around freezing. Hell is Empty and All the Devils Are Here Again offers a much-needed communal laugh and is in the spirit of radical inclusion. Performances are at the Luminary Arts Center in Minneapolis now until November 18th. Get your tickets at interactcenterarts.org.
Put very sexy things like abortion and marijuana on the ballot, and a lot of young people come out and vote. It was a secret sauce for disaster in Ohio. I don't know what they were thinking, but that's why I thank goodness that most of the states in this country don't allow you to put everything on the ballot because pure democracies are not the way to run a country.
That's Rick Santorum. That's what the Republican Party thinks about the country, I guess. Democracy, true democracy, is not the way to run this country. said it out loud. Leave it to Rick Santorum. He's still around. I was talking about politics, how all of a sudden, somebody runs a couple times, they lose, and then you don't hear from them again. Sadly, there's Fox News, and it seems like a lot of Republicans only run and then get elected and then announce they're not running for re-election so that they can become a pundit on Fox News. So they stick around. Anyway, that's what Republicans think about people voting in this country. That's why they're against democracy now. They're not even covering it up. They're not even covering up the fact that they are against democracy. And it's because they know if there's a true democracy and fair elections, their party is extinct right about now. Actually, they have been thinking that for 50 years or more. Richard Nixon thought it. He undermined a peace agreement that Johnson was working on in Vietnam. He undermined that peace agreement because he knew if the peace agreement went through, then Richard Nixon would not be able to win the election to become president. So he threw a wrench in it. And Vietnam ended up going on for another 6 years. So that was oh man, time is passing. That was 1968, 55 years ago. The presidents began cheating if they were a Republican to win elections. I don't think Ford did, but Reagan did. And George H.W. Bush, he did some nasty stuff. I don't know about it being completely illegal. He was doing a lot of illegal stuff, but I don't know how the illegal stuff he was doing affected his election. Definitely his son did. You've heard me talk about that before. So they know that if there's fair elections with no cheating and true democracy, they cannot be in power anymore. So that's why in 2024, Trump cannot win. I say that for many reasons. We can't afford to have him win because he will make sure democracy goes away. He will throw people in jail, beginning with some of his old friends like Bill Barr. He'll try and throw Joe Biden in jail. He's going to try and do this. And I actually heard Matt McNeil come up with a very, very interesting philosophy about why Tommy Tuberville is holding up all of these military appointments. And he said, what if they can hold him up until Trump becomes president, and then they can put Trump's people in so that the military will abide by what Trump tells them to do? Because the military is not supposed to do things that are illegal. And Trump wants to do a lot of illegal stuff. But what if he gets his own guys in all of the top parts of the military? Is that why Tuberville is holding up all these appointments? Now, he's not going to make it until 2024, but because his own people have turned against him now. But another reason that Trump can't win is basically because it will be impossible for him to win because he's not going to be the nominee and he's going to be in prison. That's what I think. What does Jim from St. Louis Park think on line one? Hi, Jim.
I think that you have to go back to Eisenhower to have the last Republican president who was elected without committing treason.
I agree.
Because W wasn't elected. He was appointed by the Supreme Court.
Yep.
And it always just bothers me when people talk about his reelection, because then you're assuming both of his elections were legit. And then I have a hypothetical here. So, Swami and Nikki Haley they go at it quite a bit,
Yeah.
and he insulted her daughter and stuff. And, she's fond of calling him, well, stupid. I mean, not exactly.
She called him
but,
scum last night. Yeah.
So just hypothetical, they're walking out to the car and they have words in the parking lot. I think Nikki Haley might be able to take him. I don't know.
Just knock him off his no, he's not the one with the boots. That's Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, with the high heels.
Yeah, when Ramaswamy said Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels, I thought he was talking about DeSantis.
That's so funny. Yeah. Well, what was the movie about Kinky Boots? Is that a DeSantis' movie there?
Oh, I don't know that movie.
Oh, it's about a bunch of shoemakers in England who, all the plants are closing, so they're losing their jobs, and they start making custom boots for kinky boots for drag performances and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was a musical, and it was a movie. It's a good movie. I liked it, but.
Yeah, from your describing the movie, I would say yes. I think Ron DeSantis' boots were made by those guys. Have you've seen the weird pictures of his boots? Sounds like you know about all this stuff.
I'll have to look them up.
As a matter of fact, in my notes here, I have Bootgate written as something to talk about. I was going to talk about it later on, but. Go online or go to YouTube and just put in Ron DeSantis boots and you'll see a bunch of stuff. And it's crazy because it's so obvious that he's got some weird going on and he's trying to deny it. But when you actually see the boots, it's like, okay, what is going on there then?
One thinks thou protest too much, right?
Exactly. I mean, if it were me, first of all, and somebody tried to get me to wear boots because they don't think I'm tall enough to be a candidate, I would tell them, no, I'm not going to do that. But if I did do it, and then I got asked, because he got asked point blank a couple times about it right to his face. And he just tried to go, oh, I didn't know people were talking about this. So then the guy said, oh, so your people haven't told you that everybody's making fun of your boots? And he's like, no, they're just regular boots. That's how we reacted. But if it were me, I would have said, okay, yeah, my people think I'm not tall enough, so I'm wearing these stupid boots. I hate them, and maybe I'll stop wearing them now. But, I don't know why,
maybe go the other direction and, try to point the camera down there and say, aren't these cool? These are some real rockin' boots I got going on here.
Yeah, I got them from the Kinky Boots company. And
I've heard this thing too, even like national pundits and stuff talk about Trump like he's a friend of Social Security.
Right.
Because he's made some claims. Oh, I will protect Social Security. And actually, if you really like dice his words, he says that he won't cut benefits.
Mm-hmm.
But Republicans have been trying to kill Social Security for like 80 or 90 years.
Yeah, since it began.
Trump is the one Republican that got closest to killing it.
Yep.
And he did he was going to try to drop the FICA taxes, and then they figured in 3 years it would have been dead.
Right.
So it really makes me cringe when people talk about him as being a friend of the Social Security. But
yeah, well, the people who are talking that way are the people who believe everything he says. And the fact is, he doesn't care about anything other than himself and his image. That's why seems more invested in this fraud civil case where he won't go to prison, but he'll look like an idiot that, he'll look like he's always been a crappy businessman and he's not rich. He's more afraid of that than he is of going to prison. So all he cares about is himself and his image. So somebody said, hey, you know what would really get you a leg up on these other Republicans? Just announce that you're going to protect Social Security, and then you'll be the only Republican saying that. And he's like, okay, tell me what else to say, because he doesn't care what he says. He doesn't care if he's lying. So the people who believe him when he says that, I think, are the same people who believe everything he says. But say, listen, Jim, this has been fun, but we do have to take a break. Thanks so much for calling in and helping us get a little bit of a laugh in. And you were right down my path there of talking about Ron DeSantis's boots. Anyway, so that's Jim from St. Louis Park. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Todd Mikkelson sitting in on the Matt McNeil Show. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Rachel Shamblat. My dad is Dr. Scott Shamblat from Shamblat Family Dentistry. A lot of people are afraid of the dentist, but you don't have to be. My dad makes going to the dentist comfortable and even fun. He won't be mad if you haven't seen a dentist in a long time. He just wants to take care of you and your teeth. If you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblat Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblatfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Hell is empty and the devils are all here again. Attend this original, uplifting, and revealing musical satire about the times in which we live. This play explores wokeism, misinformation, the colonization of Mars, spy balloons, and features parodies of President Joe Biden, former President Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and even Mickey Mouse and Barbie make an appearance. Interact's Hell is Empty and All the Devils Are Here Again offers a much-needed communal laugh and is in the spirit of radical inclusion. The performance is at the Luminary Arts Center in the North Loop and ends November 18th, so get your tickets now. Special Queer Night on Thursday, November 16th. Time is going fast, so do not miss your chance to see this original performance only available in Minneapolis. Interact Center's mission is to create art that challenges society's view of disabilities, and this performance features a cast of neurodiverse actors offering a joyful, inclusive, and funny look at our society. For tickets and more information, go to interactcenterarts.org. Hurry, play ends November 18th.
It takes teamwork to stay safe on Minnesota roads during the winter. You can help. When you see snowplows at work, slow down. Slower speeds can save lives. Don't crowd the plow and leave plenty of space between yourself and other vehicles. Keep your headlights on to see and be seen. Avoid distractions and always stay alert behind the wheel. This message brought to you by the Minnesota Department of Transportation, the Minnesota Broadcasters Association, and this station.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Todd Mikkelson sitting in on the Matt McNeil Show. Patrick on the board and that harmonica part that you just heard. When did you start playing harmonica?
Just yesterday. So that's probably why we're about half the listeners just tuned out.
Oh, well, really, all you did was kind of went. I mean, I think anyone could do that, right? So, yeah. So we were talking about Ron DeSantis Bootgate. There's another big gate. I don't know if you've heard of. Have you heard of Lectern Gate?
Yes, I have heard of this.
Yes, it involves Sarah Huckleberry Sandbag in the state of Missouri, as we call it. There's a guy, Matt Campbell. He's a Missourian, and he looked into some of this stuff. Apparently, she is not very well liked by her fellow Missourians. And by the way, Missouri, I'm just having fun. I'm not trying to make fun of you. I am a little bit, but we're just goofing around. So don't be offended that I called you the state of misery.
I should just stop you for 1 second. She's from Arkansas, not Missouri.
Oh, that's correct. Yes. All right. So now all I did was I just offended Missouri and was wrong about everything. Patrick corrects me. Thank you, Patrick. She's from Arkansas. Is that how you say that?
Yeah, interestingly, now this is, of course, a completely different discussion. Apparently, the phonetic origins of Arkansas and Kansas are completely different. So that's kind of something fun to think about.
Because Kansas is a Native American thing.
Yes, I believe Arkansas is too, but
probably also is.
Yeah. Different.
Yeah. Anyway, Lectern Gate. It's a crazy story of Sarah Huckleberry Sandbag, and I'm not concerned whether or not she would be offended that I'm calling her that. it's her party and her old boss that started calling people names. So I'm just going along with, what she believes in. She got caught charging $19,000 to a friend of hers company. Her friend is called, her name is Virginia Beckett, and she has an event services company. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders is the governor, of course, of Arkansas, and she used taxpayer money to pay her friend's event services. And on the receipt for that, it says that she bought a lectern from her friend's event services company, which right off the bat doesn't make any sense. Another thing that doesn't make any sense is that the lectern cost $19,000. One thing that does make sense is $19,000 is just below the reporting limit when you spend taxpayer money. So if she were to spend $20,000, she would have had to report it. But since she only spent $19,000, she didn't have to report it. But this guy, Matt Campbell, an Arkansan who was looking into this, found this information. He also found a photo of Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Virginia Beckett and Hannah Stone, two of Sarah's friends, and they took a trip right around the time that that invoice was dated. They took a trip to France, a country that I thought Republicans hate, but I guess Sarah Huckabee Sanders loves France. So $19,000, huh? Trip to France. No, I bought a lectern for the people of Kansas. She's never been seen using the lectern, and pictures of the lectern that nobody knows if the lectern exists, but I mean, it must exist, but they don't know that it exists in the Arkansas capital or wherever she presides as governor. When she was talking about it, she was using a different lectern. So then people said, well, why are you not using your new fun $19,000 lectern? And she said, because that would be all anybody talked about. She just came up with a sorry excuse. So this lectern likely cost more like $500 if she even bought it. But now there's another scandal. Matt Campbell releases a text saying, I don't know, y'all, I kind of doubt Sarah Sanders' payments to, quote unquote, a company called Account Test, and their address is 123 Report Street, Anytown, Arkansas, and the zip code is 79999. And she pays $1,400 once a month to that. And nobody knows what it is. Nobody can figure out what it is. And then a third scandal, I need to find the details of it here. This is, he writes another one, but if you really want a head scratcher this evening, try to make sense of Sarah Sanders spending $53,041 payment to a small mom and pop diner in Little Rock for consulting political. That's what it says. That's what she paid for, consulting-political. And she wrote that check less than a month after she was inaugurated as governor. Another woman in Arkansas, Jess DeLuche, she said, I talked to the owner of that small diner and can assure everyone that the owner doesn't know about this, doesn't know about getting paid $53,000 from the governor of the state she lives in. So what is going on? These are crimes. These are extremely serious crimes. Plus, she lied. Then when she got caught with this, she wrote something on that first lectern invoice that said, oh, the legislature is going to pay this back. And then the legislature did pay it back, but it's still just taxpayer money. Highly illegal stuff that she's doing as governor There are a lot of, and the legislature in Arkansas is doing a formal investigation. She could end up getting thrown in prison. Seriously. She's breaking serious laws. Anyway, the end of hour number 1. We'll be back with hour number 2 in a few minutes. You're listening to the Matt McNeil Show. I'm Todd Mikkelson. Sitting in for Matt McNeil. We'll be back.
Hooray for red state fiscal responsibility.
Exactly.
Hi, this is Todd from 30 Bales on Main Street in Hopkins. My co-founder Tom and I developed our restaurant to celebrate everything Midwestern cuisine has to offer. Our upbeat neighborhood gathering place brings together bright personalities, bold recipes, clean ingredients, and craft spirits that play with the unique flavors of the Midwest. The menu at 30 Bales is inspired by seasonal ingredients grown close to home. Find us across the street from the Hopkins Center for the Arts at 1106 Main Street with plenty of free parking. Go to 30bales.com to learn more.
Hi, this is Laura. Listen to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. or anytime via podcast. Our individual health is connected to the health of each other and connected to the health of the earth. We know the problems with the dominant food system: climate change, deadening soils, nitrates in the water, factory farming, injustice, concentration of wealth. How do we both as individuals and as a community step up and support a living food system which honors the earth? Tune to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. and remember to support your independent farmers.
It's Brad Friedman, your friendly investigative blogger, journalist, and host of the Bradcast on AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Jackie Quinn. Authorities are trying to determine who sent suspicious letters, including some containing fentanyl and other substances, to local elections offices in Washington State, Oregon, and Georgia. Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger says it's alarming.
We all can do better. You know, these are your fellow Americans that are working hard to make sure and bring to you safe, secure, accurate, and fair elections for everyone.
One of the letters had a message reading, "End elections now." News from West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin. The Democrat is not running for re-election next year, making his seat in a conservative state a prime opportunity for Republicans. A judge in Michigan's heard arguments on whether the Secretary of State has the authority to keep Donald Trump's name off of state ballots for president next year because of his alleged role in the January 6th insurrection. Former President Trump's attorney Michael Colombo says no.
Plaintiff's interpretation of the law would empower a state election official, even an elected one, to remove a presidential candidate from the ballot of a political party's primary election.
Israel's agreed to pause fighting in Gaza for 4 hours each day, says National Security Council spokesman John Kirby. Negotiations are ongoing to try to get the hostages released. Good news for home buyers. The average rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage dipped 0.2% from last week. Officials in Rome say they've had to scrub off anti-Semitic graffiti from buildings in the old Jewish quarter. This is the 85th anniversary of Kristallnacht, a crackdown against Jews by Nazi forces. Stocks took a tumble today. The Dow down more than 200 points. This is AP News.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Save on stuff you really need and stuff you bought for fun. Stuff you've always really wanted this holiday at Amazon. Stuff that is discounted if you're naughty or you're nice. Stuff to buy your grandma who drinks her Chardonnay with ice. Stuff to make you big and strong. Stuff we can name in this song. Stuff for lawns and decking halls. Save big on stuff at Amazon. Stop.
We're heading into the holiday season, and you're probably realizing, like a lot of people, that your home is not ready for the holidays. So get ahead of the pack and call Zero Res right now. Zero Res has a 4.9 rating on Google Reviews with over 17,000 reviews, And the Zero Res Gotta Love It guarantee makes it easy to get what you pay for. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at $149. And don't forget your air ducts. You can get $75 off any air duct cleaning this month. Call Zero Res at 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com to schedule your appointment today. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res. And when nothing but new will do, nobody knows floors better than Zero Res. Save on top Mohawk brands. Go to zfloors.com to learn more or call 952-ZERO-RES and set up a free in-home consultation. Z Floors by Zero Res.
Hello, this is Ellie Krug with Ellie 2.0 Radio. Now my show will be on Saturdays from 10 to 11 and replayed on Sundays from 1 to 2. You will get to the best of Ellie 2.0 with talking about idealism, with guests who come in and who are idealistic, who are trying to change the world, and you will get me, Super Idealist. Tune in. We can't wait to hear from you, and you'll hear from me Saturdays from 10 to 11.
Hey, it's Tom. Since 2009, All Energy Solar has been providing solar energy solutions to customers. With fully licensed electricians and installers, you can be sure that your solar installation will go smoothly. The team at All Energy Solar understands that every customer is unique. They'll take the time to survey and understand your property to find a solar solution that works for you. One of the biggest advantages of going solar is the opportunity to take advantage of the many solar incentives available. But it can often be confusing to know what you're qualified for. All Energy Solar professionals will help you find out what savings you can apply for and even help with your applications. This is especially important since many rebate programs have limited capacity and are first come, first serve. So it's important to have a professional on your side who will make sure you get every eligible rebate. Get a free no obligation assessment from All Energy Solar's commercial solar specialists by calling 800-620-3370 or visit allenergysolar.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Sunshine today with a high of 47, then tonight cloudy with a low around freezing. Scott Your Mama's Hot Barbecue offers the huge taste of selections like baby back ribs and pulled pork sandwiches out of a little place. Scott Your Mama's is located just a block west of I-35W off of West Diamond Lake Road in South Minneapolis. Visit their website at scottyourmamas.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Todd Mikkelson sitting in on the Matt McNeil Show. Thanks for tuning in. We're talking about all kinds of stuff. One thing that I want to point out, this week, it's crazy. The Trump family testifying on the stand, including Donald Trump on Monday, Ivanka Trump on Wednesday. Last week was, who were the two? Beavis and Butthead Trump. Testifying on the stand. Something that I don't know Donald Trump has ever done. And he couldn't handle it, of course. That happened last night. We're going to, in a minute here, start talking about what went on at the Republican debate. That was just last night. And just the night before that, Tuesday night, incredible results in elections, where, again, Democrats just outperformed and way overperformed. And for some reason, again, surprised everybody. How many times do we need to be surprised? We were surprised after Kansas. Then we were surprised after Wisconsin. We're going to talk about that. In Kentucky, there is part of Kentucky that Trump won by 60 points. 60 points. And Democratic governor on this last Tuesday turned that around and won that district by, I think, 5 or 6 points. I think it was 6 points. That's a 66-point turnaround. Now, there are a lot of nuances in that, the president and the governor, two different things, but it's still incredibly amazing. I'm going to play a clip for you right now of Andy Beshear, the guy who just got reelected as the Kentucky Democratic governor. And here is his philosophy on what happened.
Well, I think candidates should run for something and not against someone. I think what you saw last night was a rejection of anger politics, of attempting to divide us, and of gross partisanship. People are tired of the constant bickering, of seeing the world in red or blue, or Team D or Team R. I think everybody who runs for office ought to come with the very best ideas about how to move us forward. I mean, I look back on the primary in 19, and Rocky and I were running against each other, but we didn't attack each other. We didn't go negative against each other. We talked about our ideas, and here we are today, friends, a big part of this administration, moving the Commonwealth forward. So my suggestion to everybody is make sure you're running first, because you really care about people and you really want to make a difference. And then tell everybody how you want to do it.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think he's got his thumb on what's going on right now. I think he's correct about how most people are feeling. And you can hear it even in the turning points now with Trump. In the debate last night, they were saying things like Trump is a different guy now than he was in 2016. Now he's running, you just hear him talk about things for himself. In 2016, of course, this is BS, but in 2016, he was running for all of us. He was running for the unheard voices. He wasn't running for that. He was running, he was expecting to lose, and he thought this would help his brand by being a presidential candidate. It was just to make more money off his name on his buildings, that it's looking quite likely he's going to lose these buildings. Because I mentioned the Trump family going on trial, and it looks like they're going to not be able to afford to pay the penalties, and they're going to have to liquidate. And I've heard people who understand how these things work, I've heard them say, Mar-a-Lago, he might lose Mar-a-Lago. He's almost definitely going to lose Trump Tower, because he doesn't really even own Trump Tower. He only owns the retail space in the bottom, and then the rest of it is that, all the apartments are owned by the people who bought the apartments. So Trump Tower, big, gaudy, 80s looking golden letters might get taken down from Fifth Avenue in New York. But what Andy Beshear's talking about here is people getting sick of the fighting. America is together, mostly. It's just that a very small amount, and then sadly the loudest voices, are the ones who are doing all this contention. It's not from both sides. People always say, oh, well, it happens on the far left too. No, it doesn't. If you want to say the most liberal people in Congress, both in the Senate and the House, they're all in lockstep. The Democrats are in lockstep, and they're getting stuff done, and they've gotten a lot done. You don't have AOC complaining about it or Bernie Sanders complaining about it, because they can see that we're moving forward. Maybe things aren't as liberal as they would like, but they can see that we're going much more liberal because the country is liberal. Again, 85% of people want women to keep their reproductive health care rights. 85% of people think we should have restrictions on gun ownership. And in those polls, like I said earlier, if Gen Z was a part of those polls, it wouldn't be 85%, it would be 95%. Very small, and people, Republicans are leaving the Republican Party. A part of the reason this is happening, and they're just absolutely in shambles, is because there's no brain power left in the party. And now they have, I don't know, somebody who's really weird as their new speaker. They didn't vet him, so he's being vetted after they put him in, He's scrambling to try and scrub the internet of all of his craziness from the last few years. People are finding out he doesn't have any bank accounts. How can you exist in today's economy? People usually don't even get a paycheck to take to the bank. That you just get it put right in your bank account. Everything's done electronically. So does he demand to get a written check and then he takes it to the bank and gets pure cash and then keeps it in a jar in his freezer? I mean, what the hell's going on? Other weird stuff about him. But I did want to get to talking about the debate last night. And of course, that bounces right off of kind of what I'm talking about. The Republicans, even though they just got their cabooses handed to them again on Tuesday night, Virginia, the governor there, and I'm confused as to why people keep calling him so smart, because I have seen no evidence of it. He was asking, so what they held the Senate. No, they held the House. And he wanted the Republicans to take the Senate. Or was it the other way around? Kind of doesn't matter. He's a Republican governor. He wanted to pass a 15-week abortion ban. And he thought he was a genius because, hey, this is kind of a compromise. It's not a compromise, but he thinks it is. He thinks, oh, Democrats will go along with that, right? I'll even put if you were raped or had incest is what the cause of your pregnancy is, you can still get an abortion after 15 weeks. I'll even throw that in. Man, the Democrats are going to love this. But anyone else, you can't have an abortion after 15 weeks. The Democrats are going to love it. No, instead, the Democrats came out in Virginia and again surprised everybody, took the House, kept the Senate. I think that's what it was. I think the Republicans had the House. So now the Republican governor, who, by the way, everybody was talking about would be their best bet for a presidential candidate. And I think he was thinking, yeah, I'm going to win back the House. I'm going to pass this anti-abortion bill, and then maybe I will run for president because that would make me a huge hero, right? Well, now he can't do any of that because now he lost the House. He doesn't have any part of the legislature. Now he can't do anything he wants to do whatsoever. So now he's out of the picture. Trump will be out of the picture when he gets thrown in prison in maybe May or June or July. I think Iowa, I think there's a chance DeSantis will win, and then Trump will be all mad, and he'll go against, he'll start talking about the Iowa governor who just endorsed DeSantis. But I've heard interviews with people in Iowa saying the same thing that people were saying. The other candidates for the primary were saying Trump is not the same as he was in 2016. He's running on different things now, and it's just all about him. And I think we need somebody else. And, Trump is old and kind of freaky. So, yeah, I'm ready for someone else. And it sounds like Iowans are kind of leaning toward DeSantis. I think there's a really good chance Nikki Haley is going to end up being the Republican nominee. I do not think she will go on to be president. I think she'll do better than Trump would do against Biden or any Democrat. I think she would do better than Trump. But to the point that I would be a little nervous on election night. But again, she gets asked about a national abortion ban. She's going to say some crap that she thinks maybe Democrats can stomach. But there is no compromising on this. You want to take away reproductive health care rights for women, period. And we don't trust you when you say you don't want to do that, which is kind of what she said. So we are going to get into, I ended up watching the stupid debate last night. I'll admit I waited till it was over and I fast forwarded here and there, but I got the gist of all of the questions. Wow. I did it because I knew I was coming on the radio and I didn't want you to have to do it. So I was going to report about it. And it was excruciating, man. Really, you should send me money or something. Take me out for drinks or dinner for watching the debate for you. All of you listening to this, you should treat me to something. Anyway, but let's take a break and then I'll come back and I promise, I'll finally start to get into last night's crazy Republic. And it wasn't crazy, really. It was boring, super boring. But yeah, they're not getting it. And we'll talk about why I think that when we come back. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Todd Mikkelson sitting in on the Matt McNeil Show. We'll be right back.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Considering replacing your vacuum? What do you do with the old one? Throw it in the garage? Worse yet, throw it in the garbage? How about trade it in and save? A1 Vacuum in Roseville has been around forever, and they take trade-ins. When you trade in your old vacuum, you save. So if it's time to replace that old clunker headed for the garage or landfill, bring it into A1 Vacuum in Roseville. You can find A1 Vacuum at a-1vacuum.com or call 651-222-6316.
Hey, it's Tom. Going solar is a great way to save on energy costs. By using the sun to power your house, you can feel good about an investment that will last for years. All Energy Solar is a locally trusted turnkey solar installer that's been around since 2009. They provide custom designs and quality installations of solar panel systems that work for your energy needs. One of the best parts about going solar is it's an investment that can pay for itself. Your system can pay back 100% of the installation cost in as little as 8 years. Plus, the system from All Energy Solar can pay back over 300% of its cost over its lifetime. There's also many tax incentives and rebates available, and the experts at All Energy Solar can walk you through the entire process to make sure you're saving as much as possible. So go green, both financially and environmentally, with All Energy Solar. Get a free, no-obligation assessment from All Energy Solar by calling 800-620-3370 or visiting allenergysolar.com.
Now at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, the Morso wood stoves qualify for a 30% tax credit.
Morso wood stoves earned the Nordic Swan Eco Label, Europe's most rigorous environmental standard. Here in the U.S., these Morso wood stoves qualify for the 30% federal tax credit. This is a credit of up to $2,000 off your income tax when you install efficient wood heating. Morso wood stoves are known for elegant Danish design, made of quality cast iron. This is furniture that radiates heat and warmth. Morso brings the tradition of wood heating into the 21st century.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has been selling wood-burning products since 1977. Morso is an important part of our diverse selection of fireplace products. We want to make fire work for you. Let us show you how Morso wood-burning stoves can work in your home.
Get in touch with the folks at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. They are the chimney and installation experts. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood, gas, and electric units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Todd Mikkelson sitting in on the Matt McNeil Show. Matt will be back next Tuesday. So you get me here today, tomorrow, and Monday from 3 to 5 here on the mighty AM 950. So we're going to get into the debate. And it's not even really going to take all that long because there were a couple moments that were interesting. Ramaswamy Vivek Ramaswamy, we love to say his name. He's just there trying to get sound bites. So he's trying to, sort of be contentious and say some crazy stuff. But one notable thing, or a couple notable things, it was ran by MSNBC instead of Fox. The other two were ran by Fox. And MSNBC, for some stupid reason, included, I can't remember his name, some right-wing guy. I'm picturing, I know his name, and whenever I'm on the radio and I'm trying to think of somebody, I can't. Hugh Hewitt. So Hugh Hewitt was being fairly reasonable, but in real life, he's a crazy maggot who says he's not, but he is. If you're still a Republican, you're a crazy maggot. I'm sorry. There's that's what they have become. So I don't know what the future is. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject. Notable things, no questions about climate change. No questions about guns, even by MSNBC. They did ask about abortion and women's health care rights. For a little while, I thought, are they not even going to go there? Is this just the Republicans made a deal with MSNBC saying, no, you can't ask us about anything that would be hard for us to answer. Talking about things going on right now overseas. And of course, the United States giving funding, aid, both to Israel and to Ukraine. There's a package that Biden wants to do that's $105 billion, I believe, that would include Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan. Ransmanwamy, he just said, no, I don't think we should send money to Ukraine. And then he said all this crazy stuff about Ukraine that I don't think is true, but this is what some of these people do. They say something super crazy, and they know you don't know if it's true. And they also know that you can't even really look it up because it's crazy, but you can't prove that it's not true. So they kind of get away with it a little bit. But one of the things he said is that they have a Nazi comedian in cargo pants as their new president. He's talking about Zelensky. He's calling him a Nazi for some reason. You know who else calls him a Nazi? Putin. Nobody else. Just Putin and Vivek Ramaswamy. But he also went on to name provinces. He said, and that the other things in those countries, hey, that's how he talks kind of. In those countries, it's really weird. He's so annoying. Some people would say he's very punchable. I don't like violence. I've never punched anybody. But I understand when people call him punchable. And so he says, names some provinces that have kind of hard to pronounce names. And you can tell that he just studied this and then rehearsed the names of 3 provinces in Ukraine. He even points out that probably nobody else on the stage could even name any of these provinces. So he names those provinces and he says, those have been Russian-speaking people since 2014. Those have not even been a part of Ukraine, and those have been Russian since 2014. Of course, Russia illegally annexed places in 2014. He doesn't mention that part. And then Nikki Haley comes on, and you can tell she's got an overview of the world, at least. She says Putin and she are salivating for someone like that becoming president, pointing at Vivek Ramaswamy. Then in my notes I put, at least she has a worldview. She talks about that Taiwan wants us to support Ukraine and wants Ukraine to be victorious because China is watching that to see whether or not what the chances are that they can take over Taiwan. So she's seeing a whole world view. She's mixing together what's going on in Russia and then that China and even North Korea has skin in the game, So she's saying why we need to do this. And Vivek is looking like, oh, I should have maybe studied that part of it too. All I did was looked up the name of some provinces and practiced saying their name, and then making sure I point out that nobody else probably except me knows the name of those provinces. It's just such a snide, little stuck-up little. DeSantis said he will deport all Middle Easterners. He said on this subject, he didn't really talk about this subject. He didn't really answer the question. He talked about our open borders. So he's like, why should we worry about other open borders when we have our open border and people are coming through? When I become president, I will deport all Middle Easterners who are coming through our border. Okay. Yeah, that's just sounding like Trump. He's just trying to be Trump on with high heels. Christie he talked kind of like Nikki. And he said, yeah, you can really see the inexperience here in somebody like Vivek Ramaswamy. And then he pointed out some of the same things that Nikki Haley pointed out. Tim Scott was just kind of talking about God a lot and stuff, and saying that the whole problem with the United States is that Jesus isn't president or something. He's just sounding like he's going way too far on the mixing of church and state. They talked about the readiness of our military, and they talked about Taiwan, and of course this was a Hugh Hewitt question. He said Donald Trump wanted to have 600 the 600 warships of the Reagan era are gone, and Donald Trump wanted us to get up to 355. It was about at 300 when he was president, and now we're at 291. So he's trying to point out that, Democrats don't take care of the military enough. And some of the people tried to talk about it, and you could tell that they didn't really know what they were talking about, except Chris Christie. He said something that's more important. The thing that has been a deterrent for China to invade Taiwan is that they don't know how many nuclear submarines we have in the area. So the ships is kind of old school. What they're scared of is our nuclear submarines. Our nuclear submarines have the capability of being very stealth and being around that area. And China at no given moment know how many of those are around. And that's why they're laying off of Taiwan. So it's not about supporting our warships. It's about supporting our nuclear submarines. That's our, best weapon. Now, of course, you have Donald Trump talking to this Anthony Pratt, who's just a rich guy who's wanting to get richer. He actually is from Australia, and he got a membership at Mar-a-Lago so that he could hang out with Trump. And he then went talking to his friends about some of the stuff Trump is telling him. And Trump is just trying to show off, like, I was president. You want to hear some of the stuff they told me? Our nuclear submarines, you can't believe what they're capable of doing. Here's what they can do. This is classified top secret information, so you probably shouldn't tell anybody, but I'm going to tell you right now. And he then got subpoenaed, and he said, well, as he remembers, I've told about 45 people. This Anthony Pratt guy has spread nuclear submarine top secret to at least 45 people. And, you tell 45 friends, and then they tell 45 friends, and then they tell 45 friends. This is reason number 643,000 why Trump should have never been and should never again be president of the United States. I still can't believe it happened. When it came to the economy, they, of course, talked about Bidenomics needs to be all torn up. First day I get in there, I'm going to take the Bidenomics and tear it up. Even though Bidenomics has done all this stuff, created 14 million jobs in only 2.5 years. All the other stuff that you hear on this radio station quite a lot about what Bidenomics has done. Our GDP is unbelievable. Our unemployment is unbelievable all in the good directions. And that's coming off of a historically injured economy. So they say the only secret, the question was, what would you do to relieve Americans of the high prices at the grocery store and the gas pump? And then Tim Scott said, we need to open up that pipeline. They said, well, no, that's going to take some time. So what would you do to immediately help? And of course, none of them could come up with anything, but they all talked about energy independence, which we have. And they talk about, we're going to open up more drilling. No, companies already have the rights to drill in all kinds of places, and they're not using that right to drill. Partially because they want prices to stay high, and partially because they don't want to spend the money, because now they've used up so much of the oil that drilling is way more expensive because you got to go way deeper. That's why they have fracking and all this other crazy stuff. And so all of them talked about, we need to, I will open up our energy independence right away. As a matter of fact, we should have energy dominance, and it should be oil and coal. That's their economic plan. And the final thing they talked about was abortion. Tim Scott, even though it just lost in Virginia, said, I would have a 15-week abortion ban. All Americans will love that. No. Even Republicans don't like that. They voted against it in Virginia. Ramaswamy said, what we need to do in this country is we need to have sexual responsibility for men. That will solve the abortion problem as far as he's concerned. Nikki Haley said, we need to stop the judgment. Each state has their different things. I don't judge people for being pro-choice, and I wish they wouldn't judge me for being pro-life. So people can be what they want. If the states pass a pro-choice bill, I won't like it very much, but I also won't judge it. So that'll solve the abortion problem as far as she's concerned. Christie says we should trust the states. Okay, we already know that we shouldn't trust the states because some of the states want to put women in jail if they leave the state to get an abortion. So all of them, none of them are trying to say, okay, well, it's looking like America. I've even seen polling that Americans, 85% want women to keep their reproductive health care. So that's kind of where I'm going now. I'm running to be the president of Americans, and 85% of Americans want us to stop trying to ban abortions. None of them said that. No Republican will say that. And that's why none of them can win to be president. And we'll talk a little bit more about the nuances of that, but we're late to take a break. Let's take a break. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. We'll be right back.
Think your company's safe? Your staff is working from home, right? As I speak, cyber criminals are mounting attacks across the country. Remember, when we're weakest, cyber criminals attack. Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. The Rymark team is guiding our clients through these difficult times. In fact, demand has been so high, we created an easy-to-follow guide. It's yours free. Download our 5 steps to securely work from home now at rymarkit.com or call 651-328-8900 for a no-cost how-to discussion.
Hi, this is Paul Metza. Thanks for listening to the Wall of Power Radio Hour for the last 5 years on AM 950. We air every Saturday night at 6 p.m. We have artists, musicians, private detectives, politicians, and more. On AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Hell is empty and the devils are all here again. Attend this original, uplifting, and revealing musical satire about the times in which we live. This play explores wokeism, misinformation, the colonization of Mars, spy balloons, and features parodies of President Joe Biden, former President Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and even Mickey Mouse and Barbie make an appearance. Interact's Hell is Empty and All the Devils Are Here Again offers a much-needed communal laugh and is in the spirit of radical inclusion. The performance is at the Luminary Arts Center in the North Loop and ends November 18th, so get your tickets now. Special Queer Night on Thursday, November 16th. Time is going fast, so do not miss your chance to see this original performance only available in Minneapolis. Interact Center's mission is to create art that challenges society's view of disabilities, and this performance features a cast of neurodiverse actors offering a joyful, inclusive, and funny look at our society. For tickets and more information, go to interactcenterarts.org. Hurry, play ends November 18th.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Cloudy tonight with a low around freezing, then on Friday, cloudy with a high around 49. Hell is Empty and All the Devils Are Here Again offers a much-needed communal laugh and is in the spirit of radical inclusion. Performances are at the Luminary Arts Center in Minneapolis now until November 18th. Get your tickets at interactcenterarts.org.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Todd Mikkelson sitting in on the Matt McNeil Show on this Thursday, November 9th, 2023, in the space and time continuum. Something that happened today, another thing that happened today, on top of Kelly Morrison announcing that she's going to run to be my congresswoman. There is an agreement between Israel and the United States and apparently Hamas, but who knows what Hamas is going to do. But Israel is saying, yeah, we will, for 4 hours every day, we will we'll open up new places for Palestinians to get out of northern Gaza, and we will also make sure that humanitarian care comes in during that 4-hour period every day. 2 days ago, 90-some trucks went in with humanitarian aid. Yesterday, about 105 trucks went in. They want to get that up to 150 trucks every day. People need water. They need fuel to run some of the stuff, even including things that are keeping people alive in hospitals. They need more medical supplies. There's some nasty, horrible stuff going on over there right now, and they need a lot of help. So that's something in the news. Apparently, this has been going on a little bit, but it's the United States has been urging Israel actually for more of a longer ceasefire, at least 3 days. And right now they have negotiated and gotten some more humanitarian help to go in and some more people to get out of harm's way. It's still, maybe not good enough, but it's a war. It's tough. And I'm glad to hear the Biden administration is caring about Palestinian people and innocent bystanders. I don't know. We're not going to go into the whole, all of that's going on in the Israeli war right now. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. I don't know. Right now, I told you that we were talking about the Republicans and women's reproductive health care rights and how they're not changing on it. I think that this proves that the GOP wants to have a problem. They don't want to have a solution. They didn't want to overturn Roe v. Wade. And somebody just didn't get the right memos. Because now they're the dog that caught the car. And now that was the biggest rattling of the hornet's nest they could have possibly done. And now Democrats are super engaged and enraged and showing up at the polls. And the Republicans are like, oh, man, I did not know there were that many hornets in that nest. We wanted to keep arguing about Roe v. Wade. We wanted to keep talking about how horrible the Democrats are for killing babies. And now that we overturned Roe v. Wade, we can't talk about that anymore. So they desperately try and talk about the border. Another problem that they want to keep, they don't want a solution to. They want to talk about Joe Biden's letting in all the terrorists. There was a couple terrorists arrested at the border. Okay, so Donald Trump was letting in the terrorists. Joe Biden is arresting the terrorists. So that argument doesn't really work for people who have a brain in their head. And you saying things like, okay, I know how to appease the Democrats. Let's just have a 15-week abortion ban. That'll be good. Because if a woman goes to the final month, say, now she was intending to have that baby. She was probably very happy and excited about becoming a mother and having a baby. But a horrible complication happened that will either harm or kill the baby or harm or kill her. And the doctor says the only way that you're going to live is to have an abortion. And so if your baby were to be born, it probably couldn't live longer than a few minutes, or it would have this problem or this or that, and you would be dead. Republicans want that woman to die. But they think, oh, let's just have a 15-week abortion. They don't understand, and they don't listen to how this works. So now they have to talk about some sort of abortion ban, or they can't keep their base. But if they talk about some sort of abortion ban, they lose 85% of Americans. And that's what's been going on in all of these elections, these state elections where they're trying to sneak them in like in August and hope that nobody shows up. But Democrats are showing up. They're not getting away with anything anymore. And now they regret solving the problem that they were working on for 50 years of overturning Roe v. Wade. Now they're totally screwed. Can I say that on the radio? I don't know. I think by pointing out that I maybe shouldn't say it on the radio is what makes people think the thing that we shouldn't be talking about on the radio. Anyway, we're all adults here, right? Anyway, so that's why they can't win the presidency. They're going to be asked, do you want a nationwide abortion? And even if they say, well, not a full one, just maybe a 15-week ban. Or Chris Christie, now he's saying, I think we should leave it up to the states. Okay, what about those states that want to throw women in jail if they need to, the story I just told, if they get to the final month and they can't get an abortion in this state they live in, so they go to another state. Well, when they come back to this state, we're going to put them in jail. Even if they want an abortion before 15 weeks, that state will put that woman in jail. I mean, so that's what happens if you leave it up to the states, Chris Christie. That's what you're saying you want America to be like? Yeah, you can't win the presidency. Nikki Haley, yeah, she's basically the same thing. Leave it up to the states. And the states that vote pro-life, don't judge them. And then I promise I won't judge the states that vote pro-choice. That's how you want America to be? So you still want women to get thrown in prison if they're trying to save their own lives, or if they've been raped by their family member or anybody, You want them, in some of the states, they need to go ahead and have that baby, even if they're 10 years old. You want that in some states. You want that. And you don't want pro-choice people to judge those states. Okay. Thank you, Nikki. I will be voting for Biden. I've been a Republican my whole life, but I'm now voting for Biden. And I'm a man. I have a daughter and a wife and even women friends. And I don't want them to get thrown in jail or die. So no, Nikki, I'm a Republican man and I'm voting for Biden because of your view on abortion. None of them have a view on abortion that will win them the election. If they go all the way and say, we need to have a ban across the whole country, no matter what, then they only get their base. Now, if they say something reasonable like, no, I understand this and that 85% of Americans want women to have reproductive health care rights, then they lose their base and they can't win because they're not going to get Democratic votes. And now they get even less votes because they lose their base. And that's why they're sticking to this, because they at least want to get their base. But they all know, these people know that they're doomed. So I don't know exactly what the plan is over there anymore. And we'll talk a little bit more about the fact that Republicans are becoming extinct and can't win an election anymore. When we come back from a short break, you're listening to AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. Todd Mikkelson sitting in on the Matt McNeil Show. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Gina. Matthew, I will not read this next line.
I'll be your Snookum Wookums.
Fine. My husband is the sexiest radio host in Minnesota, Matt McNeil.
Dang straight.
When it came time to replace my vehicle, I wanted an option that was safe in the environment. I wanted a hybrid. My RAV4 hybrid is a greener vehicle without sacrificing style and comfort. I love my Toyota hybrid.
Toyota hybrids are incredibly fuel efficient. Test drive one today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Nightingale is your cozy, comfortable neighborhood restaurant in the Whittier neighborhood at 26th and Lindale. Nightingale has patio, dining room, and bar seating available. Plus, they still have takeout and delivery. Their menu has lots of delicious options like the famous Nightingale burger and fries, ginger tamari chicken wings, smoked chicken liver pate, and more. They're open from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. daily with their full menu until midnight. So make the friendly neighborhood Nightingale your go-to restaurant in South Minneapolis. Place an order, make a reservation, and more at nightingalempls.com.
This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, weekdays at 5 p.m. On our show, you'll hear about Native issues like treaties, protecting Mother Earth, and holding our elected officials accountable. Weekly correspondents like Dr. Stately, State Senator Mary Kunesh, Robert Lilligren, and Bob Blake update us with the latest news from Turtle Island. Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Listen weekdays at 5 p.m. or watch the show on Native Roots Radio social media accounts. Ho-wah!
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. You know, over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
Hi, it's Freddie Bell, host of New Beginnings, heard every Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on AM 950. Each week, I bring you timely information on finances, AARP updates, Minnesota Department of Health information, what's going on around our area, a spiritual message, my words to the wise, history notes, and more. So tune in this Saturday at 11 a.m. for New Beginnings with me, Freddie Bell. I'll see you then.
Hi, I'm Mary T, inviting you to experience our integrative Mary T Health and Wellness Center, offering physical, occupational, speech, and lymphedema therapies. Experience our guided imagery, meditation, Tibetan medicine, dry needling, massage services, including cupping and oncology massage. Sign up for our free wellness screenings and learn more at marytwellness.com. All major health insurance providers are accepted. Come for therapy, experience wellness.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Todd Mikkelson sitting in on the Matt McNeil Show. Matt will be back next Tuesday. I will be here today, tomorrow, and Monday. And also you can hear my podcast, A Satellite View. It comes out weekly, usually on like Sunday night. And I do a lot of the same thing that you hear me do here. And you can find it by going to am950radio.com. Click on the programs link and scroll down a little bit, and you can find the super cool graphic and logo for A Satellite View. Click on it and listen. It's got I think I'm on like the 36th or 37th, maybe even higher than that episode already. Been doing it for more than a year now. So there was a hiatus. That's why it doesn't add up to 52. We were talking about elections and how the Republicans really rattled the hornet's nest. And now, then, a couple guys who really know a lot about how these things actually work. I told you about Joe Manchin just today saying that he's not running for re-election. We don't know if he's going to try and be a candidate for president, maybe with the no labels. People have been speculating about that. I personally think he'll take more votes away from the Republicans than he will from Joe Biden, but whatever. But people are saying Joe Manchin retires, making Democrats' brutal 2024 Senate map even more brutal. And then Ezra Levin, he writes, I'm seeing this take a lot, but for the record, most of us assumed Manchin was toast once Jim Justice got in the race, his Republican opponent. We were not planning any investments in that race, and I don't know anybody who was. Ezra Levin works a lot with elections and raising money and funding. Simon Rosenberg is somebody who really knows how to watch what's going on the ground and many other things, not just the polls, but he knows the most about how to read polls than anybody that I have come across, I believe. But he talks about other things. He says the strong Democratic performance over 2 elections in states across U.S. is a sign of the institutional strength. And by that he means money, campaigns, candidates, and a narrative of the Democratic Party and institutional weakness of the Republicans. Democrats are much stronger now, better at understanding how to win. And that, if there's a silver lining in the horrible dark cloud of Donald Trump becoming president, this is the result. The Democratic Party, I believe, is more robust than certainly it's been. Well, I don't know. It was pretty robust in the 1970s. But in a couple generations, the Democratic Party was weak in the 90s. Bill Clinton was bending over backwards to appease the Republicans. And even Barack Obama was doing that too much, which is, I think, you've probably heard me say it before, why Barack Obama is on the phone with Joe Biden every day saying, Joe, don't do what I did. Stand up to these. And then he uses a word I can't use on the radio. They're horrible. Simon Rosenberg goes on to say what we discussed in blah, blah, blah. So in the spring of 2020, when Dobbs happened, and also Uvalde and other mass shootings happened, extremist Republican abortion trigger laws took effect. And when the January 6th committee began its public work, all of that, 3 days after Dobbs, our candidate in an unfunded Nebraska House special election, outperformed our 2020 results by 10 points. In the 5 House special elections after Dobbs, our candidates outperformed 2020 by an average of 7 points in what was supposed to be a good year for Republicans. Democrats, and women in particular, started registering to vote in much higher numbers. Our candidates dramatically outraised Republican candidates and parties in general. We blew it out in the early vote in the state after state, and then in the battleground states, we outperformed expectations and gained ground over 2020 in Arizona, Colorado, Georgia, Michigan, Minnesota, New Hampshire, and Pennsylvania, getting to 59% in Colorado, 57% in Michigan, 55 in he says Michigan again. I think that was a mistake. Anyway, he talks about how We are really well organized. We know how to raise money. Kelly Morrison is really good at this. Her campaigns have been incredible. And that's why she's going to now become my congressperson. And so I think she'll be the first Democratic woman congressperson in this district in the history of Minnesota, probably. So, well, we have come to the end of our show here. We're running out of time. I was just starting to have fun. Dang. That went fast, didn't it? Todd Mikkelson in for Matt McNeil today, tomorrow, and Monday. So I will see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock Central Time here on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota.